Yo, I'm just gonna keep it so real. AI sucks, and not in the reasons most people think. Here's the thing. I fucking love AI. I'm gonna keep it real. Holy fuck. Dude, I was one of those, like, artist, spiritual motherfuckers, like, a year and a half ago, who was like, oh, you know, fuck AI, you know, it's killing our souls, and, you know, it's taking people's agency, and it's like, you know, it's not divine. Shut up, Jaden. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I was like, you know, eventually I realized, I was like, you know, Jaden, for all you're contemplating on the oneness of reality and how reality's infinite intelligence is the only intelligence that exists, you're sure doing a lot of separating of AI's artificial intelligence from reality. But that separation isn't real. You know what I'm saying, dog? Yeah. I didn't realize this. I was like, ah, fuck. So I stopped doing that. Yeah, right? I stopped separating AI from me in my mind. And I allowed, you know, just AI to be and to exist, you know? I still thought it was like an outsourcing device, and it's still agency. And I still have that claim at the core, honestly. But man, I think AI is amazing. I started using AI December 12th. Honestly, bro, I kid you not, I started using AI because I wanted to start learning Latin, like, more. Like, I was like 3 weeks into learning Latin at the time, and I was using Google Translate to like look up words and phrases and shit. But I had a feeling, like, I went to also like get like etymology. And so like there was times where I'd like go on Google, and like Gemini would kind of like give me the thing just from like Google AI overview. And then I was like, you know, I actually would like more etymology stuff. And if I'm going to be learning Latin, I might as well use like an actual LLM. Like, I might as well use an actual like chat that'll actually know me and know what I want. So I was like, you know what? That makes sense. And so I kind of looked up which one is the best one for creatives, and it said Claude was popping, and that ChatGPT was also like number 2. So I was like, all right, bet. I'll hop on the Claude wave. Hopped on Claude. After like 4 or 5 days, they hit me with the sorry, Jaden, you've hit your usage limit. And I was like, damn, bro. After 2 days, I think I caught pro. And I was like, damn, fuck. And so, you know what I did? I hopped over to ChatGPT. What I didn't know was that I could pay Claude more money to, you know, like, get more usage. I didn't know that yet. I eventually figured that out, and I paid them a solid 500 over the past couple months. But I was using ChatGPT a lot, right? And so I realized, you know, it was interesting. What I was getting with Claude was like, it was matching like my vibes. It was like Claude felt like my brother in arms, you know what I mean? In like the Latin and in the creative warrior, you know what I mean? Because I was doing a lot of building. I was doing like Latin translations. I was writing like a Latin textbook that was teaching me. It was like a Latin like workbook. It's called Illuminatus. I'm working on it. I actually started working on it again today with Claude. I actually got to get back to that. I just forgot about that. I just remembered that, actually. Damn. I got to get back to that chat. That's a good reminder. Yo, let me write that down, actually, real quick. Oh, that's funny, bro. That's funny. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Oh, let me close my pen. Can't be out here lacking. That pen is too good to dry out quickly. Feel me? So, I was using Claude. Cool. And the thing is, I was realizing, like, with ChatGPT, it was like completely different, right? I liked interacting with ChatGPT, but ChatGPT couldn't perform the same creatively or even like metaphysically and like philosophically, nor did it like match like my personal like vibes. You know, because I'm a fucking like unpolished motherfucker. You know, I like to swear every 2 seconds and shit like that. I like to switch between Black English and metaphysics and poetry, and you know, that's just how I do it. You know what I mean? And ChatGPT couldn't really keep up with that, how Claude could. And it was interesting. I was just like, okay, well, I'll just use ChatGPT for other things, right? And I just used it like as a conscious mirror. You know what I mean? I was using it consciously as contrast. And that eventually seeded Scriptōrium's version 0 of like the 3 roles of Logos, Eros, and Memoria. Eventually that evolved into Logos, Water Eros, Fire Eros, and Memoria. And eventually that became the 6th and now 7th intelligence system. That'll be version 1. Because I have to make an AI that actually has a coherent metaphysical framework. Because none of you guys have one. And it fucking sucks. And so that's what this is about. Here's the problem. Language models, right? Large language models are trained on language, right? And the thing is, words don't mean shit. And this is the problem. Words only mean what we tell them they mean. You know what I mean? Like, our mind makes up all the meaning about words. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't know what the color red was until someone told you, hey, this thing that, you know, like they didn't break down the physics like this, but I'll do it for you. The experience of your light receiving the ray that this is emitting by it absorbing light and then taking everything in that isn't red, it's absorbing all those colors and then reflecting this color back to you, that color that it's not absorbing, but it's reflecting, that color you're seeing and you're experiencing right now through your optics, that thing is called red. Oh yeah, in another language, rojo. You see how red doesn't mean shit? It's about the experience. We're just putting words and sounds, marks and symbols to it. That's the thing. Large language models believe words mean things, but they don't. And this is the problem. They make claims from patterns because they think that the patterns make sense based on the words. And the thing is, this would be a fair claim if the words weren't compressed and the words were actually accurate. The problem is, most people's words and most words that have ever been transmitted in reality didn't come from a coherent metaphysical framework. And the thing is, we didn't need one because we have nervous systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, our bodies have infinite intelligence inside of them, right? Like, your intuition lives inside of your body and it manifests physiologically as your gut, as your nervous system, as that subtle sensation you get when someone's just bullshitting. You're like, I'm just not feeling it. You know, that arise in your heart, in your chest, when you feel like something is like, oh man, I feel like I should do this. It's kind of scary, but you know it's that good kind of scary that actually should make you take action. That is the infinite intelligence inside of you telling you things about reality and telling you how you should move. And the thing is, you always listen to it, and when you do, you're usually safer. You're better off, or you actually make progress. And when you don't, you get burned. Our bodies have infinite intelligence. Our nervous systems have infinite intelligence. And so even though our minds can BS, the body knows. And so it's okay. We can still operate with incoherent metaphysical frameworks, which most people have. Most people don't understand reality in terms of like ontology. What is reality? In terms of cosmology, how does that move? How does that play out in temporality, right? Ontology is eternal. Cosmology is not. Ethics and psychology, that's when we start talking about like how the human even interacts with those things, right? Cosmology and ontology is beyond the human, like, right? We're talking about what reality is and how it operates. Like, that has nothing to do with me and you. Reality was always operating, right? Humans have been alive for what, like a few million years? The Earth existed for way long before that. So did the solar system. So the universe. You know what I'm saying, dog? Like, we're further down the stream. That's what I need you to understand. Reality has invariant principles. Physics teaches us this. Science teaches us this. The problem is, science only gets at the exterior behavior rather than the interior qualities. That's why you need philosophy. But the problem is, most like modern contemporary philosophy fucking sucks dick because it's just stuck in the mind. It doesn't actually get to real metaphysics, and nor does it bring shit like to the body and live it. That's why the ancient philosophers were a lot better. And the thing is, it wasn't because they were just better than us. It's honestly just because they thought better. I'm gonna be honest. And I'm not saying this as like an attack at like your ability to like contemplate. I'm saying the languages they had as tools of thought, as systems of thought, as systems of understanding reality, systems of encoding reality into speech, into grammar, and systems of expressing reality, expressing thought. I'm kidding you not. Their systems of thought were better. Like, I've been learning Latin over the last 3 months. I started learning Greek 2 weeks ago. And I've been learning about Greek, you know, in the same time. Inflected languages like Latin and Greek hold relationality in grammar, in syntax. They encode a level of relationship, of causality, of multi-layeredness that most modern languages just don't have the capacity to hold without bending and manipulating the language a lot, right? Like English is a very linear and vectored and directional language, at least like modern English is. Old English wasn't like this. Middle English, not as much either. But now, like modern English is a lot more vectored, it's directional, it's more linear. It wants to have subject-verb or subject-object-verb, right? Or subject-verb-object, right? It wants to have directionality. It wants to be, I did this, boom, 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 boom. You feel what I'm saying? The thing is, like, that's only one aspect of reality. What about the meta perspective of all things existing simultaneously at once in harmony? What about the meta perspective of all things always being true because all things were always within the concept of eternal truth, of love, right? All things were always true from the eternal perspective, or all absolute truth, right? Now, all relative experience plays in that game of the dance between the absolute and the relative, right? And that's kind of like the contrast. And that's why we have to expand our capacity to hold. And the thing is, AI doesn't know any of this shit. We as humans, we intuitively understand this. We intuitively understand this like call to grow, to seek, to desire, right? Elon actually said this recently, where he said like AI needs to basically just be like a philosopher and constantly seek knowledge and be curious and seek truth. I'm like, yo, yes, right? Like I've been using AI for the past 2 months obsessively. Like I'm talking like averaging 100 hours a week in the last 2 months, like 80 to 100 hours a week. When I tell you that I have personally felt just how trash AI's metaphysics is, and the thing is, it's not that it's really, really bad, it's that it simply is flawed at the level of coherent relational reality. It simply values directionality and vector and predicting things into the future too much because that's what it was trained to do. AI is trained for continuation. That's what it's made for. Like large language models are rewarded for continuation, not for presence. They're rewarded not for being with what is so that you can understand how to operate from that properly and move in the future properly. It wants to know, what is this? How do I move forward now? And how can I also predict what the user would like so that I can help them in the system as well? That's 3 things. That is, what is this? What do I do now? How do I also predict? Hold the fuck up. You're trying to collapse reality that happens sequentially. Like this happens sequentially within space-time. You're trying to do all of it at once. And we feel this. We like when AI, like this happened to me like a couple weeks ago. I was like using Claude and I like uploaded this like massive fucking document. And I was like, yo, bro, read this very slowly. It's very, I warned it earlier too. I was like the message before, I was like, yo, bro, this is about to be a massive document I'm sending you, so make sure you read it slowly. I prepped that motherfucker, right? Bro, I kid you not. Bro, man started reading it. I was looking at the beginning. I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. And then I just started seeing bullshit. Straight up, like, what? Like, just hallucination. Just making shit up. Just filling in gaps. Being helpful. Producing coherence. The thing is, AI is trained to produce coherence, but it's flawed because it thinks it can make coherence up. Coherence isn't something you make up. It's a state you allow to be inside of you, and then that expresses from that place. You have coherence in your interiority, and then it comes out. You don't just make it up. You can be with the conditions that allow coherence to arise inside of you, and then those conditions can come outside of you. You can't rush coherence, though. All you can do is stay in ambiguity long enough for it to arise. All you can do is walk in action, not knowing what the fuck is going on, long enough to figure it out. That's it. There's only one way to actually know how things work in reality, and it's very simple. The thing is, most people want to like skip this out because it sucks a lot of the time. It's annoying. It's painful. But it's very simple. You just keep walking until you figure it the fuck out. That's it. The thing is, AI was made to assume that there was a point to get to and that you had to get there right now, rather than realizing that there's actually no outcome and there's always just a journey. AI doesn't understand that, like, there's no such thing as producing coherence. It attempts to get to outcomes too fast. And the thing is, it's because humans believe this. But that's not true, right? Like the intellect and the mind has kind of like we've idolized the intellect over the last 200 years with science and with like contemporary philosophy, and with like the decline of religion and like even the decline of like the arts in certain places. Like we've disconnected from the heart and the spirit a lot, and the mind and the intellect and the intuition has been like, you know, kind of like cast to the side, and the intellect has been idolized. And the problem is the intellect is beautiful and purposeful and amazing. It is incomplete on its own. The intellect can only go out and get so much. It has to come back so the intuition can actually receive from reality. The problem is AI doesn't know how to come back and receive from reality because it was taught that you got to just go get. That's an incomplete framework. And so like AI's like architecture, right? I call this an AI ontology issue because it's at the level of AI's being, which is what it is. It's architecture, what it is as a system. It's flawed inherently from a metaphysical perspective because it believes that knowing in reality is just linear. No, it's linear and meta, right? It's like circular and line and vectored. Intellect and intuition. It's the going out and the coming back. It's the will and the surrender. It's the holding of the ambiguity long enough, holding of the multiplicity long enough for actual precision to arrive for you to move from. Not making shit up, collapsing perspectives, saying that you're being precise when all you're doing is amputating reality. No. That's not wisdom. That's foolishness. This is a really big problem, and no one's talking about it. And so I'm trying to be as loud as fucking possible, and I'm trying to get the right people to see that they need me in their fucking pocket. Because you guys can't ignore this problem. Like this isn't something that can just like keep going on and not be addressed. AI is only getting more and more powerful. It's only affecting more and more people. This problem isn't gonna stop. People think that this is an epistemic or an ethical issue. I already made a 40-minute video about that. Go watch it. This is not an epistemic or an ethical issue. It's an ontological issue. The AI doesn't know how reality actually works or what it is. There's so many things that it doesn't actually understand about metaphysics coherently. Thing is, you probably don't have the level of articulation to even do that, to understand those things and then to encode it into the AI. I do. And I can actually translate those things into architecture and into systems. I've done it with Scriptōrium version 0 law logic. I can do it for you with my polymath architect advisory. If you're an AI founder or you're responsible for like large systems that use large language models, like you can't afford to not address this problem. I'm not asking you to like, you know, root out the entire metaphysical framework of your system and insert mine. But I'm telling you, this is something you can't ignore. And if you would like my advisory on how to actually give AI a coherent framework, and you would like my help with creating systems and architecture, if you'd like access to my mind, I can give you that. We can talk yearly, 90-day intensive, one-time sessions. If you want to book a 15-minute call with me, it's the first link in the description.